Recently, at a special meeting of the Fort Bragg Unified School District, teachers stood before the school board to request a 7% increase in pay. During the public comment period, several teachers from across the district had this to say.
Good evening, trustees and district office staff. I am speaking tonight on behalf of the Fort Bragg District Teachers Association. We are here asking the board to find the room in the budget to provide our educators with a 7% salary increase, not as a luxury, but as an investment in our students' success. Right now, Fort Bragg Unified is among the lowest teacher pay in our region for comparable school districts in every salary category. At step 10, a Fort Bragg teacher earns nearly $9,000 less per year than a teacher in Mendocino and over $12,000 less than one in Lakeport. Meanwhile, our housing and living costs here on the coast are among the highest in the area. Teachers cannot afford to live in the community they serve. We all know that teacher retention directly affects student outcomes, especially in reading and math. New teachers starting their career here cannot afford to set roots in Fort Bragg. When teachers leave, students lose continuity, mentorship weakens, and learning suffers. This is not just a staffing issue, it's a student success issue. We are not asking the board to spend recklessly. Your own budget report shows that Fort Bragg Unified is financially stable, even with the proposed salary increase. We're asking you to prioritize people, the educators who show up every day for our students despite rising costs and shrinking take-home pay. A 7% increase won't make us the highest paid in the county. It will simply make Fort Bragg competitive enough to attract and retain the teachers our students deserve. We urge you, look at the numbers, look at the needs, and make the right choice for our community's children. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Kirsten Hawk, for those of you who don't know me. This is my 6th year at Fort Bragg Middle School teaching math. And I wanted to address a comment that was made last week or at the last agenda meeting in terms of our math performance compared to Mendocino's math performance. And I wanted to speak on what my last 6 years at the middle school have looked like. My very first year was the online year during COVID, and the very next year, the 2 people who had been in the department for the last 2 years were no longer there, and I started with 2 new people. One of the people that I started with got fired. The other person chose to leave at the end of the year. My very next year, I started with 2 new people in my department. In February, a teacher decided to leave mid-year, and I took over supplying long-term sub-plans to the sub. My very next year, we started with myself and Amanda Gray in the department and another new person, and again, another teacher got fired in December. So, moving forward from that, I was also pregnant that year. So not only did I leave mid-year maternity-wise, so we lost 2 teachers that year. I also created long-term sub-plans for myself, as well as the 8th grade class that had lost their teacher that year. The following year, when I was deciding if I wanted to come back after 6 months of being gone with my baby, I came back to only 2 people in my department, and this is last year. And myself and Amanda Gray decided to co-teach basically 3 grade levels of math amongst the 2 of us. I had 40 kids in my classes. I had 7th and 8th grade combined, and so I was teaching 7th and 8th graders with 40 classes combined. So when we are talking about our math performance and comparing it to Mendocino, for the last 6 years I have checked every year to see, is there a math opening in Mendocino? Because maybe they won't have the same teacher retention and the same thing where I have had to start over with 2 new people almost every single year in my department. There has not been a single opening for Mendocino for math for high school or middle school in the last 6 years. So what that is telling me is that they are not having the same teacher retention problems that we are. So when we look at the Mendocino compared to Fort Bragg mathematics score, I think it is completely unfair and unjust to look at a district that has had little to no turnover compared to a district where every year when it comes out at the end about how much turnover we have, I go, wow, how are they going to be able to fill that many teaching positions? Wow, I'm starting over with 2 new people in my department next year. wow, I'm starting with people who don't have their credential and I'm going to be helping mentor them. So I ask you guys, when you guys go into your closed session, to think about all the hats that we as teachers wear and all the things that we have done to try and make our communities better, and think about that when it comes to looking at a cost of living raise. Because I'll tell you, in the last year, my daycare cost has gone up, my food prices have gone up, my gas prices have gone up, my salary has not gone up. I have a 1-year-old outside right now. My husband and I are both teachers here in town. It would be a significant loss to a community if 2 teachers were to leave town, because we could not afford the cost of living that is this area.
I want to urge the board to consider this raise against the backdrop of a severe economic crisis that is unfolding in our country and that is projected to worsen in the future, in the very near future. My entire teacher paycheck goes to housing and childcare. Grocery prices in Fort Bragg are among the highest in the country. As we look forward to further price increases, I fear that many teachers will have no choice but to relocate to more affordable communities. I don't understand how a single person or a new teacher could accept a position here in this town and make ends meet. Those of us who are making it work living here are able to do so largely based on luck. Luck in finding a house to live in or a partner to share expenses with. No matter how much a person loves teaching, we cannot rely on luck to make ends meet. We need a living wage. A living wage means being able to afford a decent standard of living on a single full-time salary. This is not the reality for the vast majority of the teachers that I talk to every day. We are setting major limitations on teacher retention by not providing a living wage. If we want to attract and retain qualified and passionate teachers in our schools, this cannot continue to happen. Instead of waiting for this economic crisis to become a bigger crisis and then address it with even more severe staff shortages that we already have, I urge the board to take proactive measures in approving this pay increase so that we can weather this economic storm, staying in our community and continuing to serve our children.
I'm from outside of the area. I'm from Fresno, and didn't necessarily do my homework, and I took a $35,000 pay cut when I moved here and took a job. You honored my years of service, but it was just significantly less. And Fresno County is the poorest county in California, and I was making that much more. So I just want to add that, and I thank you guys for speaking up, and I feel it's really necessary to consider this 7%. I don't think it's asking for too much. I think we're worth it. Amazing teachers here. I love working with you guys. Thank you.
I totally love my job. Everybody knows that. It's like my passion. But I am this week cashing in my 403B, like taking a loan against it in order to make ends meet. I have been overdrawn for the past 3 months, actually since the end of last year. And I don't know if I can make it. I've taken loans from my grandma, my brother, my dad, and I finally realized I can take a loan against my 403B, so I'm cashing in on that in order to stay here because I love it so much. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the reality. It's really sad. And I try to scrap around for like home hospital jobs or anything extra that comes up, but I don't always get those. I don't know what it's based on, who gets them, but yeah, and I know that my supervisor doesn't want me to take another job, a second job, and I don't know if I could even handle a second job on top of my job. But anyways, that's the reality. There's a hack, cash in your 403B, or take a loan against your retirement. I mean, I don't want to do it at all, but I don't know what else to do, and I'm tired of being overdrawn at the end of every month. And I'm divorced, so.
I am making now at least $100 less a month than I was last year, which is hard to accept because I was excited to get a raise going up in the step. I also started my daughter in preschool where I have to pay out of pocket for 3 days a week, $800, because we made $100 too much a week to be accepted at the Redwood preschool, which is a shame. I should be able to take my daughter to our school and have her go to school there and not pay out of pocket. That should be a perk, just a given, but that's not the reality. I'm taking money out of my home equity to, instead of fixing things at my house, I'm using it to help with that, but also the increase in groceries. And I just think, you know, I see how hard all these teachers work. We're here long after hours or before school, on the weekends, on our breaks, taking trainings that aren't given to us during admin training days. We're here doing that stuff. There's a lot of jobs around here where people don't do that kind of stuff. We put our heart into it because we love the kids. We want to teach these kids. And it's really hard to be a teacher these days. You know how many days I have had to evacuate multiple times in the school year because of behaviors? We have less support, less teachers, and don't tell me the classroom sizes are smaller because they're about the same in kindergarten. We used to have 5 teachers with 18 to 19 students in a class starting the year. We're down to 4 teachers, and now we're at 23. You know how hard it is to help kids when you have that many kids and no support, hardly any aides because they're pulled left and right. We have so many open positions. Our aides aren't even making enough. How do you keep aides and good teachers if we can't even afford to live here? I just really hope that you guys will consider how hard these people behind me work, and more right now who are probably at their second jobs or still in their classroom. There's a lot of great people, not just teachers, but the support staff too, that aren't making enough. And I think you should honor us and retain teachers, and then maybe you'll see our scores go up. Second grade has been a revolving door for the last, I don't know, as long as I've been there in 7 years. No wonder our scores are down. We're constantly getting teachers, and they're leaving within a year. You have to start all over each time. So I just hope you guys will consider all of those things when you think about giving us our, an increase in pay.
Does anyone else have public comment for today's meeting from the board? Okay.
Thank you all so very much for taking time out of your busy days to come. It means a lot and it says a lot, so thank you very, very much.
Thank you.